All right, welcome back to the Goblin Coaches Show. The guy next to me, if you don't know who he is, I'll introduce you to him. But if you're a Goblin fan, you know exactly who he is. Coach Young, welcome to the show. This is going to be a weekly installment. We're going to talk a little bit about your Lady Goblins. Let's talk a little bit about the team as a whole. Are they where you thought they'd be?
We're getting there. We had, Caitlin Woods hurt an ankle and has been out for a month. That kind of set us back a little bit with our inside game because it was just, coming on when Audrey Wilson was able to start playing and getting some depth there. And then, first rattle out of the bat, she goes down. So, right when we were starting to get some progress, and as you mentioned, getting some inside to help our outside, we suffer a blow there. But, Audrey's stepped up and played well for us lately, and we get Caitlin back Friday to start practice. She won't be available for the game. But hopefully, within another week, we'll be back full strength and ready to go. So, overall, yeah, we've improved. I feel like since the seasons began, we've been, right there at every game. Unfortunately, in our conference, if you take 2 minutes off, it goes from a 2-point game to a 10-point game. And then, like I said last night, we ran into a buzzsaw at Bologna. They're the #1 5A team for a reason. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Audrey Wilson. She's come back last Friday night against Siloam Springs, came off the bench, gave you 12 big points off the bench, 6 there in the second quarter. Gave you some quality minutes and a little rotation between her, Mallory Honeycutt, and Hannah Norton. And then throw Caitlin Woods in there will be a nice little combination of being able to get those in. Sometimes you can run 3 of them, 3 of the 4 in there, or even 4 of the 4 with the fact that Hannah and Mallory can step outside and handle the ball for you a little bit. It is nice to have that, and I thought Audrey Wilson has really stepped up and played well.
She has. Of course, she had some, she got a lot of experience last year, and she's an extremely tough competitor. And she doesn't like to lose, and she brings something to the table that, that we really need with her competitiveness, because she'll fight you tooth and toenail for anything you got, and that's a big plus for us.
The thing about her, which I've noticed, is the ball. She just finds a way to be around the ball. The ball ends up in her hands. If it's on the floor, she's on the floor fighting for it for you, and does a really good job.
Yeah, that's true, and she does a good job. I mean, she's starting to get her offense back, and she does a good job of keeping the ball up, above her head when she's getting ready to shoot, where they can't reach in there and knock it away. And her touch is coming back, and like you said, she had 12 the other night, and some great rebounds. I mean, those are invaluable. And that rubs off. You see somebody, we get one, busting their tail and going to the boards, and then, it kind of rubs off on everybody else, and it gets contagious, and that's what we need.
Yeah. It's been interesting to watch her come off the bench and play for you. Hannah Norton, somebody you and I talked about a little bit. You maybe a little pressure when she was starting in the beginning of the year. You started to bring her off the bench. She started to feel a little bit more comfortable. I see you start spotting her every now and then a little bit, giving her a little bit of reward for the effort that she's given you, especially with Caitlin Woods being gone. It's kind of invaluable.
Yeah, she sure has. And, Hannah's a great athlete, but as a sophomore, there's some growing pains, especially in our league. And so, you just kind of have to feel your way in. You have to understand that there's going to be some tough moments. She's handled it pretty well, and she's just got to keep her chin up and keep playing. And she's, getting better and better, more comfortable. Strength is a big thing with her because, she's tall and wiry, but there's some big kids in our conference, and, that's something she's got to deal with.
It's a big leap, though, from junior high, 9th grade, to playing senior high. It is, and the fact is that you don't have enough players to run a JV game. Has really, taken away a little bit of the valuable playing time that she could get just being on the floor. That's a huge step, when you're playing junior high to playing senior high basketball. The girls are stronger. It's not the same age anymore. It's a girl that could be 3 years older than you that you're going up against, and there is a strength difference. There's a huge maturity difference as well.
There sure is, and you have, you're used to playing everybody your grade or your age. A lot of times you're the tallest one on the court. And then all of a sudden you're going against someone 3 or 4 inches taller that's 40 pounds bigger, and you're getting your shot blocked, and they're knocking you around and pushing on you, and it's tough to deal with until you get it all figured out, and it's just one of those things that everyone has to go through. And that, the games that we've had JV games on that I've gotten to kind of get her warmed up, she's played extremely well. But with the injuries, we're down to 10 bodies, and we just can't afford to play a JV game, and she's not had that luxury of getting to play that role and then kind of stepping in and at the varsity level. She's been thrown to the wolves.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your obviously your motivational gal, who you're really asking to do it all for you and doesn't gripe there. Kylie Quattlebaum, she does what you ask her to do. Kind of the inspirational leader for you on the floor, as well as at times maybe asking her to score a little bit more than you probably like to see her do, distribute the basketball, but sometimes you just need to put the ball in her hands and let her go.
Well, she's a 3-year starter, and she's had all the experience. She's like a coach on the court. Yes, everybody knows about her, though.
No hidden secret there.
There's no hidden secrets in our league, so she's, they take precautions to make sure that either to keep the ball out of her hands or make sure that they're running 1 or 2 at her when she does get it, and she doesn't get the looks in the conference that she got maybe in non-conference because, they're so familiar with her. And, sometimes she has to try to do more than she should or needs, that we'd like for to have to do. But it's respect for her. I mean, they really try to keep the ball out of her hands and try to keep her from, touching it as much as possible, or running 1 or 2 at her and making her give it up. And
I've been real pleased with Nikki and Chelsea. They've done well for you starting. They've not had a lot of playing time until this year, but they've really stepped up and have kind of accepted the pressure. I mean, have done well. Against Siloam Springs, did a really good job about shutting Nikki down, not giving her a chance to shoot the basketball. Chelsea a little bit, she got a couple of shots off then, but they've responded well this year.
Nikki has played well beyond her expectations, really. I mean, her defense has been super, and she's a tremendous shooter when she gets her feet set. And early in the year, she's kind of one of those things too. They didn't know about her, and they were leaving her over there and letting her get her feet set, and she was hitting 13, 18 points.
Yes.
Now that the word's out, they're taking that away, but she's starting to put the ball on the floor and go to the basket a little bit and back cut and doing some good things. But her game has really progressed, and she's been not that it was a pleasant surprise, but she has gone beyond what
the expectations
I really had. I knew she could shoot it, but now she's able to penetrate a little bit and make some moves. But real impressed with her defense and rebounding. That's been a great plus. Chelsea's always been a good shooter, and they know a little bit about her from some of her JV games, and she played quite a bit of varsity minutes last year. You might as well say was a 6 starter.
Right.
And so, but she can really shoot the ball. Didn't shoot it particularly well, at Siloam, but has the ability, to knock down shots, given the opportunity.
Right now, you've got 1 win. That was a big win over Morrilton. I thought the team played extremely well after coming off some really bad losses in the Lyndall Thomas and starting to get used to and then opening the season on the road in the 5A West. But coming home to the first home conference game, I thought the girls played extremely well. As I mentioned to you after the game of that particular game about the way that the high-low was working. They went to the high post and then pivoting, and it makes it nice when you got a little height and you can throw it over the top. It is really done well. What are we looking for here as the second half of the season's the conference play is about to be upon us?
Well, more of the same. It was great for us to come from behind and win a game. That was a big feather in our hat and a plus and a motivating step for the kids. We came back against Siloam, who had really been
That's a good basketball team.
It was a good basketball team, and we were right there. We were down 38-36, right at the end of the third quarter. They get an old-fashioned three, and then they hit a shot at the buzzer, which, looking at the film, shouldn't have counted, but it did. Yeah. So it goes from 2 to 8, right there that quick, and then we just kind of battled there, and it ended up, with free throws, shooting toward the end, having to foul, trying to get them to miss, and they went 6 for 6. And
they did. They hit them down the crunch time.
And that's what good teams do. Mm-hmm. And so it ended up, 16, I think, but a lot closer game than what the score may have indicated if you were just looking at the paper.
And I, when I watched it, they did play hard. They loved the intensity. They battled. They didn't quit. And you're right, taking that from the Morrilton game of coming from behind to actually win shows that they can actually step up and do the things that they need to do to win.
Yeah, Siloam had us down 15-2 to start the game.
Yes, they did it. We fought back.
And we fought back. So.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. Coming up, you got Alma this week, this Friday night. Then you got a kind of week off to kind of regroup a little bit, and then it's Huntsville back at home. So the confines of the Spook House and LT's court's going to be nice for you, Coach. We thank you for being here. Until next week, we're going to bring on Coach Stoller here in a minute, and then Coach Young will be back next week. We'll talk about the Alma game. We'll be right back.